Picture this, it's early July 2018, and President Trump ignites a global economic firestorm with a single tweet. We're imposing 25% tariffs on $50 billion of Chinese goods, from semiconductors to bicycle parts. Within hours, the S&P 500 tumbles nearly 3%, bond yields slump as investors seek safety, and U.S. consumers brace for higher prices on everything from washing machines to smartphones. What began as a bid to level the playing field was about to become a complex multi-year saga of winners, losers, and unintended consequences. Over the next 2 years, Washington rolled out 4 tranches of Section 301 tariffs on China, 25% on $34 billion and $16 billion of imports in mid-2018, 25% on $200 billion in May 2019, and 7.5% on $120 billion in February 2020, while simultaneously imposing 25% duties on steel and 10% on aluminum under Section 232. By early 2020, nearly 2/3 of U.S. imports from China, about $335 billion, were subject to new levies. Behind each headline number lay families and businesses recalibrating budgets, supply chains scrambling to reroute, and diplomats racing to forestall full-blown retaliation. Consumers felt an immediate sting. The Peterson Institute estimates that U.S. households and firms paid almost $80 billion more per year because of higher import costs. Retailers quietly squeezed margins or passed costs onto shoppers. At the same time, the Federal Reserve was hiking interest rates to cool an economy already grappling with tariff-induced price pressures, laying the groundwork for the inflation squeeze that would peak in 2022 and reshape monetary policy debates for years. On the Farm Belt, the blow was stark. When China retaliated with 25% duties on soybeans, pork, and other staples, U.S. soybean exports plunged by about 70%, and contract prices fell nearly $2 per bushel. By 2019, family farm bankruptcies climbed 20%, reaching their highest level since 2011, and grain elevators in Midwest towns emptied out as farmers watched costs rise and markets dry up. That rural distress would prove decisive in the 2020 election, as longtime Trump supporters in swing states felt betrayed and shifted the balance in Michigan and Wisconsin. Industrial America saw mixed fortunes. Steelmakers like Nucor cheered as domestic prices soared, delivering a 68% profit jump in Q4 2018. Yet iconic manufacturers such as Harley-Davidson suffered when Europe motorcycle duties surged from 6% to 31%, forcing production lines to relocate to Thailand and sparking an outcry in Congress over the unintended harm to American brands. Meanwhile, emerging hubs in Vietnam and Mexico quietly absorbed much of the displaced manufacturing, accelerating a multi-decade trend of supply chain diversification. Legally, the tariffs spurred a protracted battle at the World Trade Organization. In late 2023, a WTO panel found U.S. steel and aluminum duties in breach of global rules, prompting appeals that have yet to resolve the dispute. Yet the U.S. maintains its tariffs, citing national security prerogatives. Across 2019 to 2020, world merchandise trade growth slowed to just 1%, the weakest since the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis, underscoring how uncertainty and higher cost can choke global commerce, even without formal embargoes. Politically, the arc was unexpected. President Biden campaigned on rebuilding alliances, but ultimately kept most Trump-era China tariffs in place, adding new levies on green tech and semiconductors and packaging export controls into the CHIPS Act. Public opinion polls now show Americans narrowly favor tariffs as a tool to pressure China, even as they chafe at higher grocery and appliance bills, reflecting the deep ambivalence of a country caught between protectionism and globalization. Now, in April 2025, the debate resurges. Former President Trump has proposed a universal 10% tariff on $3 trillion of imports, alongside a 60% China-specific levy. Measures economists warn could stoke another 3% jump in headline inflation and saddle U.S. households with an extra $1,200 to $2,600 in annual costs, disproportionately affecting lower-income families. Simultaneously, talks on critical minerals duties and tighter tech export rules hint at a new front in the great power competition, a high-stakes gambit that may reshape the global economy for decades to come. Tariffs, as one veteran economist put it, are economic Jenga. Pull one block, and the entire tower wobbles. Trump's first trade war saved some steel jobs but bankrupted farmers, delivered windfalls to select corporations while slowing world trade, and helped trigger a persistent inflation crisis. Now, with Trade War 2.0 looming, the stakes could not be higher. And the question remains, can policymakers craft smarter, more balanced approaches that protect strategic industries without saddling everyday Americans with the bill? If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and share your thoughts below. Subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into global economics, trade wars, and financial trends.